Earlier today, we got a new edition of Night City Wire. This time around, CDPR went deep into Phantom Liberty and shared a plethora of new details about the expansion as well as Update 2.0, and also a bunch of new gameplay, so there's going to be quite a bit to break down in all of that. But even further, we've finally gotten the release date for patch 2.0 and even some first impressions on the update. And with that, the first of several embargoes have lifted, so media outlets and creators alike can share that they are playing and reviewing Phantom Liberty, including me, as yes, I was fortunate enough to receive a Phantom Liberty review code, so on September 20th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, you can find my review right here on this channel, followed by a ton more content on Phantom Liberty and Cyberpunk in general, so get subscribed to check out all of that. The first major piece of new content we got during the latest Night City Wire was the CGI trailer, giving us the backstory of Solomon Reed. Solomon Reed's going to be one of the main characters in Phantom Liberty. They're a secret agent played by Idris Elba, and this new trailer really explains a lot. I went hands-on with Phantom Liberty this summer, and during my playthrough, I got to the initial meeting with Solomon Reed, and this new CGI trailer genuinely provides a lot of context as to what was going on there. It opens up with Solomon Reed escaping Night City, this all taking place in 2070, 7 years before Phantom Liberty kicks off, and my god, have I been mesmerized by this epic jacket moment. I have no idea if this is going to be a legit feature in the new update, I kind of doubt it, but hey, this looks awesome, and I guess it's confirmed that in the dark future, government spy agencies definitely have some epic tech. Makes me wonder what else we'll find as we work with the government in Phantom Liberty. In the commentary after the fact, Idris Elba describes how this scene here actually has an Easter egg, and at this point, I think I figured it out. In real life, Idris Elba started out as a DJ, specifically DJ Big Driss, and he actually will be a DJ on one of the new radio stations in Phantom Liberty. We'll talk more about that a little bit later in this video. But in the background of this scene, we could see a stock update for the ticker DJ, and it has an increase of 0.07%. This being a reference to Idris Elba starting his own career as a DJ, as well as this in-game character with Solomon Reed being a secret agent just like James Bond, aka 007. Throughout this trailer, Idris Elba is talking to Songbird, aka Song So Me. This is another of the main characters in Phantom Liberty. They're going to be an elite netrunner who's working with the president. The two characters here have a brief back and forth, talking about what they're going to be doing next, and we discover that Solomon Reed's basically going home for a bit. He's leaving Night City having finished his mission and is now just going to relax, even saying to Songbird, "I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for you." Except there's one big problem with his plan. The scene is a setup, as seemingly the government has elected to take out Solomon Reed here. And it even looks like during this back and forth, Solomon Reed kind of realizes something is up with Songbird based off this facial expression, but he ignores that instinct. As we then cut to Songbird, we can see she is tracking the train as well as other assets on board. And eventually she does shut down the train and cuts off contact with Solomon Reed. And we then have the fight scene where it very much so looks like Solomon Reed doesn't make it. But of course, based off his inclusion in Phantom Liberty, he does somehow survive this. And this would explain why Solomon Reed and Songbird don't really have the best relationship by the time of Phantom Liberty. This is a massive betrayal. We hear how Solomon Reed basically trained Songbird, so her being the one to facilitate the hit on Reed seems like it's going to be quite massive and just really create a huge divide between the two. We then get the 7 years later flash forward, and we can see the president's ship flying along and eventually get shot down. This being a part of the early aspect of Phantom Liberty that we've seen numerous times from the trailers. You could literally see the stadium that this AV is about to crash into in the background here. But you can also see that Songbird has gone through a quite substantial transition over this time. Songbird has way more cyberware on her body compared to previous. Now she almost looks bionic, where before she largely just looked human. This likely reflecting her larger role and character evolution over those 7 years. And this trailer ends off with this line again from Solomon Reed.
"I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for you."
And that line may even sound a bit familiar to some of you, as it was actually one of the solutions to one of the past ARGs. For a while, CDPR was tweeting out the Humans of Night City pictures, and the game detectives discovered that there was a bit more going on here. You could actually find individual letters attached to each picture, and if you combined them all, it would eventually spell out, "I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for you," seemingly quoting Solomon Reed. And perhaps there's even more going on with this mystery. In this trailer, we could see a funky QR code on Songbird's PC, and seems like it could be something. nothing. I tried reassembling it myself, but it didn't lead anywhere, at least not yet. Overall, I really like the CGI trailer. I feel like CDPR has found this nice mix-up of having CGI trailers that don't necessarily spoil things about the game, but just kind of give you a backstory as to one of the major characters. So you feel invested in what's going on, even though it's not actually what we're going to be doing in the expansion. And just in general, this is a great hook for Phantom Liberty. How on earth did this guy survive? Well, you have to buy and play the expansion to find out. And speaking of which, if you haven't purchased it yet, you could use my affiliate link down below to get it on GOG right now. And before we jump into some of the new gameplay, they also share quite a few details on the soundtrack and new radio stations coming with Phantom Liberty. When it comes to the soundtrack, and actually it just dropped, so you can listen to this right now if you want to, but they describe how they wanted to make it feel like players were a secret agent behind enemy lines. The most influential part being the new characters introduced in the expansion, and the relationship between Songbird and Solomon Reed was a big theme musically, as at its core, Phantom Liberty is meant to be a touching story. But also, 3 new radio stations are coming to Cyberpunk 2077 with Phantom Liberty. And in the background, as they talk about this, we even get a preview of the new pre-order car that you can get if you pick up Phantom Liberty, which, yeah, you can do that with my affiliate link down below still if you didn't before. Darkstar will be one of the new radio stations that will feature more moody and dark tracks, this being described as world music of the dark dystopian future. And it's made by artists from all around the world, including North America, Europe, Africa, and more. And there are even 2 rap tracks on this radio station that are from Idris Elba himself, which is just awesome. And on Impulse Radio, Idris Elba will be the DJ, this featuring mostly modern electric or club music. It's not entirely clear what they mean by him being the DJ. Does he pop in between the songs to talk briefly? I have to imagine this is him playing a different character than Solomon Reed. A secret agent being a radio host doesn't really make much sense. But the real star of the show is going to be Growl FM, and it's described how no 2 tracks on this station are going to sound alike. Growl FM will have a new host with Sasha Gray, and it's going to feature music entirely created by the community. CDPR ran a full-fledged contest to pick the music for this radio, and they're even making a documentary about the music and winners. So we'll be able to see behind the scenes and some of the artists that created wonderful tracks for this, and it's coming soon. The documentary will drop on September 18th. But then we get into the truly fun part of the trailer with a look at some of the new builds that will be possible with patch 2.0. But of course, also we get patch 2.0's release date itself, which has now been confirmed as September 21st. This is definitely a bit later than many people were expecting, including me. I thought it was going to be a surprise drop coming either later today or early next week, but I honestly see what CDPR is going for here. They want to dominate the news cycle for several days in a row. On September 20th, the Phantom Liberty reviews will drop to kick everything off. But then on the 21st, there's going to be tons of new content with the 2.0 update coming out for everyone and probably a ton of videos about it. And you'll be able to mess around with all of that new content for 5 days until eventually Phantom Liberty drops for everyone. But then CDPR shows off a bunch of the new builds possible with Phantom Liberty and the patch 2.0. This is largely going to be from the overhauled skill tree, so it's going to be accessible for everyone that owns the game for free, although a couple of the builds do get into some of the new relic skills, so those will be Phantom Liberty exclusive. The first build they showcase is the Bullet Time Ninja. We're able to see the new dash and air dash perks in action. The way this will work is after you get to level 2 of this perk, your typical dodge will be replaced with a much larger dash ability, and there's going to be a secondary perk that will allow you to do an air dash after you get the first one. So to give you some true power in gap closing for melee builds, but there'll be other new abilities as well, like being able to reflect incoming bullets with your katana or even performing melee finishers on enemies. And there's going to be some bonus perks to buff all of this up. So you could have melee finishers restore some of your own health, which seems like it'll be a really cool gameplay loop. You dive into combat reflecting a few bullets on the way, but probably taking some hits and lowering your HP, but then you use a few finishers to get back up to full health and continue the fight. And there's going to be some other strong gameplay possibilities, like jumping off your motorcycle and having time immediately slow down. Or with Phantom Liberty, the new relic perk will allow you to jump much further with mantis blades if you had recently performed a finisher on someone. But next up, and what is probably my favorite of the builds they showcase, is the hack and slash netrunner. As for patch 2.0, CDPR has overhauled not only how netrunning will work, but also what a variety of the quick hacks will actually do, such as contagion. It still poisons an enemy and it will spread that around, but now you can follow up contagion with some kind of incendiary weapon or just the over overheat quick hack to make enemies literally explode. And there's even some nice quality of life features, like you could see where contagion will spread to the nearby enemies as you upload it on the first enemy. All of this is made possible by the new quick hacking stacking mechanic. You're going to be able to upload multiple quick hacks on an enemy at once, up to 4 at a time if you have the highest rank of the perk. And to build off of this, a bunch of quick hacks now have certain synergy. So you're intended to upload one, then a second one, and those will combine together to deal even bonus damage. Like here, seeing all of these people explode. And there's going to be a bunch of quick hacks with new functionality around this feature. Cyberpsychosis now deals more damage and lasts longer based on how many other quick hacks you have already uploaded on an enemy, or using sonic shock along with memory wipe or reboot optics causes enemies to just get outright knocked out, which should be super strong for stealth builds, as well as some new mechanics in general like overheat melting enemy armor. And overclock will allow you to drain your own health to use more quick hacks to have access to more RAM. We can also take hacking on the go, as vehicles are now going to be hackable with 4 major options being visible, and these just genuinely seem like they'll be fun, create some new and interesting sandbox moments in Night City, and this is what I'm probably looking forward to the most. Getting a big wanted level, having a bunch of police chasing me, and then using all kinds of crazy abilities to run away and escape. But also monowire is now going to be a genuine tool and add-on for netrunners. You're going to be able to apply quick hacks with monowire. Monowire will now have one slottable quick hack, and if you charge it up fully and hit an enemy, that quick hack will automatically apply to them with no upload time. Or you could even use this to spread quick hacks if you do have the appropriate relic perks. So it can truly be a hack and slasher. Hack enemies with your net running and then slash them with monowire. And we even get an insane clip here of uploading an ultimate quick hack to an entire group of enemies all at the same time. It seems like net running is truly getting a massive overhaul with Phantom Liberty, and it really seems like you're going to have a ton of different build possibilities, combining it with monowire or even which quick hack synergies you'll pursue. Do you just go for outright damage or something a bit stealthier to adopt to your playstyle? I'm not going to be breaking them all down here, but basically every single quick hack that was shown on screen during this gameplay had some new mechanic or feature added to it. This really is a comprehensive overhaul. But then the third build they show is the Savage Slugger Solo. And we've kind of had a preview of this. It's going to be a proper tank melee build. We can see the new Wrecking Ball perk being used, where you basically carry a blunt weapon and it'll allow you to barrel into enemies to briefly stun them, but also rush into melee range. Or you could use Quake, where you slam the ground in front of you, knocking back enemies, and Obliterate, where you can have a random chance to instantly finish enemies when they're at lower HP. Or just throw them, because why not? That looks awesome too. And of course, there are going to be some relic bonuses for your gorilla arms. The Night City Wire ended with a look at the overhauled max tack, but also some of the new weapons and police mechanics tied to all of that. We see a police roadblock set up at 4 stars. This is going to be a legitimate feature of the game that is coming with patch 2.0. If you get wanted, police will occasionally set up roadblocks to try and stop you, but also we're using what almost looks like a railgun of sorts. And then we switch over to a pretty simple Barghest weapon. All of the new weapons coming are going to be a part of Phantom Liberty, so you have to pay to gain access to these. But then of course, max tack dropping down, which they genuinely will do. We've seen this in real time from some other gameplay, and it looks exactly the same. And beyond all of this, we even get some first impressions of patch 2.0 from some content creators and media outlets. And basically everyone right now is saying that patch 2.0 is amazing. Performance overall was described as being similar to patch 1.63 despite the higher system requirements. And in patch 2.0, Night City feels like far more of a sandbox. There's going to be far more options for how to build your character and interact with the world. Driving feels way better and more responsive, not just because there's vehicle combat, but it sounds like driving overall was largely overhauled, so cars feel a bit better to be driving around. But also some playstyles will definitely feel different now. Notably, net running was mentioned as having a quite different feel with patch 2.0 compared to previously. And overall, people found minimal bugs in the update, and even some old content was overhauled, like iconic weapons having updated looks now. In the description, I'll have links to some of the videos or articles with hands-on impressions if you want to give them a watch or read yourself. I'm really just summarizing some big points here. And more is coming. We know we're getting another Red Stream, this likely to be on the same day that patch 2.0 actually comes out. But otherwise, that is a massive update on what's to come, and we really just have a little bit longer to wait. So get subscribed, because again, there is a ton more content on the horizon. But if you are itching to get in right now, check out this video where I go over the top 10 mods to hold you over until Phantom Liberty.